Coming up this hour, Chief of Staff Julius Deborah convenes emergency meeting to find solutions to looming energy crises following fuel shortages in our reserves.
Also, the ZAR Electoral Commission to collate results of Ablekuma North constituency today following earlier attempt which ended inconclusive. We have details and our life there.
Also to come, President John Mahama and Vice President Professor Jane Nano Pokuajimang officially start work today.
And we also have details for you on the latest coming from the quarters of the President revoking the appointment of MMDCs across the country. We have details for you if you stay with us. And welcome to the Bulletin. I am Mawina Igbeta.
This is the very first one for the year?
Absolutely.
You're welcome to a brand new year of NewsCentral. I'm Kemini Amano. The news starts right now.
And we're starting the bulletin straight with that latest from the President's office, revoking the appointment of Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives with immediate effect. The President also has written to the Chief Director of the Local Government Ministry as well, revoking the appointment of assemblymen as appointed by the President. All of this and more, their duties are supposed to be taken over by their coordinating officials pending the appointment of substantive Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives. It's the latest that's come from the quarters of the President, and we will be getting you a lot more in terms of details from the President, but we can return you to that pressing matter which has taken over the center stage really in relation to the first day of work. And it's been a tumultuous start to work for the new government. The John Mahama government, as we know, has been meeting the strategic players within the country's energy space. The goal to avert the possible return of load shedding following revelations the country's fuel stock for power generation can only sustain generation for 5 days. Independent power producers, reps from the Finance Ministry, as well as ECG and GRIDCO are meeting or have met the President and his team. And we know that John Mahama has subsequently been at that meeting. Well, John Jinappo, in an interview ahead of this meeting, stressed the urgency in the country being able to procure enough fuel to power generation plants. Let's take a listen to what he told us earlier before the meetings this morning.
Be the main challenge at the energy front. And I said the main challenge has to do with fuel. Because as it stands, and I have the records here, we have current stock available 225 cubic meters of light crude oil to last for 5 hours with AXA if it runs at 120 megawatts. And the truth with LCO is that Send Power, and you can check with Send Power, did indicate that on average, they require about 4 weeks to treat the fuel. That is when the fuel has landed in their tanks. It takes some weeks to treat the fuel. Today is 8th. 20th, the pipeline will be shut. So even if you bring fuel today, you require those days to treat the fuel. And so way back before we took over, the Minister of Energy, Herbert Crapper himself, assured us that they've put in a requisition to the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance was even the co-chair with me But I wasn't even a main member of the transition team, but our side of the transition team co-opted me and then opted to make me the co-chair with Mohamed Amin Anta. So I virtually chaired everything with him. He assured that they were going to buy the fuel and assured that he had even transferred some 17 million to GMPC. And just some few hours before handing over, as co-chair, my mandate to be ending, I thought that it's important that I put the facts out. The 70 million has not been transferred to GMPC. You can check with GMPC. The parcel of light crude oil they promised they would order has not been ordered. And these are the facts. I mean, I just thought I should put the facts out.
I see.
The remaining one has to do with what would this administration do, given the problems that we are faced with, because we've assumed office. And so beyond putting out the facts, we have to find a way of dealing with the challenge. Today at 10 p.m., His Excellency President Mahama has instructed that a meeting be called under the instruction and direct supervision of the Chief of Staff. He has a mandate. He's the Chief of Staff. We only try to support him as members of Parliament and as former appointees and as, maybe, if I may put it,
That's John Jinapo. He's Member of Parliament for Yape Kusogo, and in the 8th Parliament was a ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee. It's why he has a lot of knowledge with respect to the energy front. In fact, he was present at this meeting, which was chaired by the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, and we'll bring you a lot more details in relation to the way forward with respect to this meeting, which happened a lot earlier. We know that John Mahama, who's the president, was subsequently briefed on the matters. We'll get details for you. But for now, we can bring you other stories from that swearing-in or inauguration ceremony yesterday. Well, the flirt with coups and military dictatorships appear to have taken a new turn following the heralding welcome Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso received during John Mahama's inaugural ceremony. The second youngest African leader presently on the continent was treated to loud cheers and provided curtsies not offered to other heads of state present. He had his private security detail armed to the teeth, while he personally also carried a firearm while meeting President John Mahama. The development has raised both questions and intrigue from watchers of the political space and security space alike. Let's subject all of that to a bit more scrutiny. Suleiman Abrahima has joined us via the phones. He's the executive director for the Media Foundation for West Africa. Mr. Abrahima, I appreciate that you could speak to us. There's been a lot of talk with respect to state protocol and the invite offered to the Burkinabe leader vis-a-vis the optics and what we saw. A lot of concern raised with respect to why he was even allowed to carry a firearm as close to the president as he did. Where do you stand in all of the arguments, those who make the argument that there were curtsies offered him and these were the basis upon which he made the visit to the country?
Well, I think in terms of the issue of he having a sidearm, that certainly would have been something that would have been sorted out. So I don't think that, for me, is an issue at all. Anyone who knows him would know that that is his routine way of, or his routine outfit. And so, quite clearly, I don't think that raises any significant issue. I'm sure our national security, our protocol department would have sorted all those things out, and I'm sure they would have made it clear that that is how he would appear at the event. So in terms of carrying a side weapon, I don't think, for me, it's a big issue.
Right. Away from that, though, was what appears to be a resounding welcome he received from the Ghanaian people at a democratic function, considering the fact that he rose to power via a military-style takeover. How do we marry the two? Here, his invitation here for starters, and the questions being asked as to why a military leader was brought into a democratic function, and then as well the welcome he received from the Ghanaian people?
Well, first of all, I think that the Burkinabe leader, young as he is, goes with some amount of charisma, even in Burkina. And so for me, it wasn't surprising that coming along with his military compatriots, Ghanaians saw it perhaps as a different thing altogether from the other heads of states who were here. And if you do know, even in Ghana, anytime the military is engaged in any kind of public activity, it attracts, quite some jeering and the public, people trooping in to see whatever is happening. So for me, it's perhaps the fact that he's quite young. He was the only person who appeared there in military fatigue, and that perhaps could have accounted for the sort of applause or reception that he got from the people. But of course, the other thing is that we all do know that from Afrobarometer data and other research works that have been done, increasingly support for democratic processes have been dwindling, and support for military governments, even though not really popular yet, but the numbers are tipping up. And so I think this should also send some clear signal to the leaders who were there, the civilian or elected leaders who were there, that, look, if they don't up their game and don't do things right and let the public know why democracy matters and how they benefit from democracy, it could be possible that one day African populations may want to support military regimes. And so I think that should be a signal to everyone. But for those who are raising questions about why a military leader was invited, I think it is a question of the efforts that are being made to bring the region together. At the moment, Mali, Burkina, Niger have been threatening for almost a year now that they are exiting ECOWAS, which is not a good thing for all of us, but particularly for the citizens of these countries. And we need to always remember that, as President Mahama said, we may be Moshis, we may be Kusafis, we may be Dagumbes and all of that, but you would find the same families here in Ghana and across the borders. And so, yes, we will be different countries, but collectively we are one. And it's important that we stay together. So I think that it wasn't a bad thing in terms of the efforts being made to get these countries to get on the path of democracy.
Right then, Mr. Brahma, I appreciate that you could share these thoughts with us. That's Suleiman Brahma. He's the executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, speaking to us this afternoon. Let's bring in Professor Vladimir Chidanso as well with respect to these same concerns which have come up and seek to pick his thoughts as well. Prof, I appreciate that you could as well speak to us. I'll pick it from what appears to be growing reception between the young populace on the African continent with respect to military takeovers and what it is that we saw yesterday. A cause for concern, even while the 20 other African heads of state were present, this heralding, if you could call it that Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso received.
Well, I don't really understand the concern. Burkina Faso has chosen a certain path. There was a coup, and they have a leader. No country has a right to choose the type of ideology or the type of governance its people want to have. So if Ghana invites the head of state of another country, it is because one of the principles of our foreign policy is good neighborliness. It is Burkina Faso, and we can invite their head of state, irrespective of their ideology. Are we saying that Saudi Arabia, which is a theocracy, or Iran, or Iraq, or Syria, any of those Middle Eastern countries, which are not democratic in the sense of the democracy we know, that we can't invite them? Why would America have a link with Saudi Arabia, for example, if indeed, or Bahrain, or Kuwait? even though they don't have the type of democracy that America has. So for me, the argument is not here nor there. We have every right to invite Burkina Faso's head of state, because it is the head of state of Burkina Faso, and he has the sovereign right to be here. So the debate is not whether we are a democratic country we should invite or we shouldn't invite. We are inviting him as head of state, respected by his own people. His own people have not chosen him the way we chose ours, but his own people have confidence in him, and he's the head of state of the country anyway, whether you like it or not. So inviting him was not improper at all.
Let's talk about the significance of his appearance yesterday outside of the chairs and these concerns. We know that Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger have threatened to leave ECOWAS. There have been conversations. We've spoken to you in the past with respect to military takeovers and what possibly its effects could be on the sub-region. How significant was his appearance yesterday, considering that invitations had been extended to the leaders in Niger and then Mali as well, but could not make it, but he made it yesterday going forward?
Well, it has no implications whatsoever in our governance system. As I said, those countries are led by juntas.
So, Prof, perhaps I'll have to add a bit more context, not for us, but with respect to the sub-region and efforts that are being made to have these three countries return.
But we don't have to ignore them. It is their sovereign countries, and what is happening in their country, those countries, we don't have to dictate how it should be done. We don't have to demand of Burkina Faso, go democratic before we talk to you. I mean, America invites Chinese heads of state, Chinese delegations. Do they have the same systems? Russia, whatever. So we don't have to tell them what to do. That would be interference. And so once they are our neighbors, whether they have, and then Ghana does not own ECOWAS. So we say, once you have left ECOWAS, we don't have to have any dealings with you. Absolutely not. It is their own country, and what they do with their country is not our concern. What concerns us is that there should be peace there. We should have the economic, trade, and bilateral or political relations with any country that is in the world. And that's one of the pillars of our foreign policy, remember. And that is the reason why inviting them has not changed anything. I mean, it does not infringe on any principle in international relations. Absolutely.
But for the ECOWAS sub-region and the conversations to have these countries return, I believe this and his appearance with the ECOWAS chair, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, all present yesterday, will be a booster of some sort.
Would that not rather signal that we can embrace them and maybe talk to them diplomatically for a return? If we ignore them, then they could do whatever they want. But as we invite them, and you could see the heads of state were all here somehow, and we have some kind of diplomatic talks could go on bilaterally outside our ears and eyes. And if you ignore them because they are non-democratic, and who gave us the mandate to determine which country is democratic and which country is not democratic? I mean, we shouldn't be dictating to them in any way that can annoy them for them even to go further away from us. What happened yesterday, for me, there's nothing wrong in international relations or diplomacy to warrant this debate that we shouldn't have invited them or whatever it is. Absolutely not.
Right.
I give you an analogy of those theocratic states, those states led by kings and whatever queens you want to call them, and who use the Quran as the basis for their constitution. Would you say that these countries are not democratic? So you would not have any dealing with, say, Saudi Arabia? I beg to differ. For me, international relations is such that each country has a right to determine each line of action.
Right then.
But then linking yourself with them doesn't have any parameters like you must be democratic before we talk to you. Absolutely.
Right then. Prof, I appreciate that you could speak to us as well. That's Professor Vladimir Nchidanso speaking to us as well this afternoon. And so you heard it. A booster of some sort in terms of the conversations on the ECOWAS front, but absolutely nothing wrong in any way or form with the presence of Ibrahim Traore, who I must mention was absolutely loved yesterday by the mass of Ghanaians who thronged the Black Star Square for that presidential inauguration. But Kemeni, you want to take us back to the presidency? Indeed,
we'll take you back to the personal office of the President, John Dramani Mahama. Komla Kluche is our presidential affairs correspondent. He's joining us now with new details of that meeting that has been going on there. Komla, good afternoon to you. Take us through what's been going on so far.
The World Bank Group has just entered into the private office of the President, John Dramani Mahama. This is just shortly after he held that closed-door meeting with the Afri-Exim Bank boss, who, they held that meeting for close to about 35 minutes thereabout. And the discussions or the details are yet to come out though. But the World Bank bosses group again is also not open to the media yet. But the photo ops and the initials is what the media has been allowed to have before he would continue to have those discussions with him. It's important to know that these meetings, the handlers do see as critical as he starts off. One, the issue of energy became a very topical one all morning that has been on the drawing board for them. Now the financial institutions are beginning to come in, and also the Bretton Woods institutions are coming in. And so it tells you the extent to which he intends to get these issues off his desk, so that he focuses much more on other things. He campaigned on the economy. And so with these people coming to see him, the very first day of his office tells what level of expediency he wants to put to the issues of the economy.
I see. It sounds like a very busy first day for the president. We also know that in the last few hours, he has removed the MMDCs. Talk to us about that as well.
Now, what we know in that letter that was signed by Dr. Callistus Muhammad, is the secretary to the president. The letter indicated that the chief executives of metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, as well as assembly members appointed pursuant to the relevant sections of the Act, have had their appointments revoked. Now, the letter indicates that in the interim, the respective coordinating directors of the various MMDAs are directed to assume responsibility as acting chief executives until substantive appointments are duly made. And so as we speak, the chief directors are the ones who are supposed to take charge and be in control of the various MMDAs until further appointments are done.
Made. Komla, don't go yet. I want to come back to you. Let's talk about that meeting that has been going on concerning the energy sector. But we'll go now to the office of the Vice President. Evelyn Tingma has been, she's been there. She's still there, really, to get us a bit more information on her first day as Vice President. Evelyn, good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. What has been happening?
So, Kemini, so I must say that the Vice President, in fact, the first female Vice President of the Republic, has officially started work. And she started work at 8:30 a.m. And of course, she has been having some engagements with some envoys and other delegations. And also, for instance, she had a conversation with the Israeli Prime Minister earlier, and she's currently having another meeting as well for him.
I see. Who else are we expecting her to meet with today? Do we know?
So, Femeni, the information is not really clear, but we are told that she's having this particular engagement, and she will be having other engagements which we are told that is private. And so we are not giving the name of that, but it's going to be a private conversation. And so, but she is in the office and she is working, and exactly that is what she is expected to do.
I see. Evelyn, thank you so much for talking to us. And I come back to you, Komla. Remember, I was talking about that meeting around the energy sector. It's been going on for a while now. But for those who don't know what this meeting is about, talk to us about what they are trying to do first.
Well, effectively, what the Chief of Staff has directed the players in the energy sector, the IPPs as well, WAPCO, BOST, Send Power, all the players in the industry were summoned this morning to the office of the President. And the issue about a looming energy crisis is what was on the table. This comes on the back of just about 5 hours of fuel left for the plants to use. We have had reports of some parts of the country going into darkness as of yesterday. And so it's become critical and important that or the players have a look at what the status quo is. At the national security briefing that John Mahama had before his swearing in, he was given the firm assurance by the outgone government that there was enough fuel purchased for the plant to use. WAPCO is going on a planned maintenance, which is the pigeon, that we are told is scheduled for January 20th. It does appear that the plants do not have enough fuel to use whilst WAPCO goes off. But as we speak, that crisis meeting, the technical team is supposed to be put in place by close of the day. Members will be known and clear guidelines will be given to them. They are supposed to report directly to the Chief of Staff how fuel will be purchased or what could be the possible ways that they could avert what would be a major doomsday that will hit the country again just a day or two after John Mahama was sworn into office. So the direction was clear from the Chief of Staff that the technical team must find an amicable solution to this. The amount being mentioned in the meeting is in excess of 236 million US dollars to have fuel purchase for the plants to use for, I think, about a month. And where the government is going to get the money from is also another thing that is on the discussion. But immediately, the technical team that also has the PURC in there, BOST and the others who have to look at what the way forward is. And by close of the day, the Chief of Staff is going to be demanding strict answers and strict solutions as to how the situation would be solved.
Indeed, Komla Kluche, Presidential Affairs Correspondent, thank you so much for talking to us. Earlier was Evelyn Tema, who also follows the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Now, away from that, and in relation to politics, youth from the National Democratic Congress have locked offices in Koforidua. Our correspondent reports calm has been restored, but the situation is traumatic for the affected staff. We are now joined by Yvonne Nikwe for a little bit more on that story.
The supporters came here this morning and that they are not looking for anybody but the district head, which is myself, and they should not interfere. So he tried to calm them down and let them know I'll be in very soon, because I called them that I had to attend to an emergency. So I was delaying a bit, and then when he really called me, I just stopped what I was doing to come. So I realized he called back again that, do I know that they have broken into my office, changed the cylinder of my office door, and then fixed their own one, and it's locked. So I had to go straight to the Central Police Station to report, make a statement, and then I came back with 2 CID officers who have also taken pictures. And then they saw me try my keys, and it didn't open. So as we speak now, the case is with the police station, the Central Police Station.
And with regards to those reports, we have received reports that some NDC groups have marched to the Kotoka International Airport. It's not clear what they intend doing or what their mission is. But let's take you there right now, because we know that the Greater Accra Regional Chair of the NDC, Mr. Ashimo, is on Zoom with us right now. Let's try and get details from him. I appreciate you, sir, for speaking to us. Why have your supporters decided to storm a critical security installation like the Kotoka International Airport?
Good morning and happy New Year to all of you and to your serious viewers and listeners. I've just finished a meeting with the regional police commander and his task force. I've been briefed about the issues. I'm currently at the Kotoka International Airport for here. I will also go to the Mahabo where I've been informed that same thing is happening. Let me use this opportunity to advise our TV supporters to resist for such act. We are a party that believes in law and order. But I stand to be corrected. I have over 1,200 delegates in this region, and I have over 65,000 branches. And some of the faces that I can see on TVs, some of the voices that I hear on radio are some of them that I can't identify them to be members of our party. What? Let me also use this opportunity to advise the people who are doing this. If there's any member of our party who is involved in this group, report.
Oh dear, it does appear the connection to Mr. Ashimo is not quite stable. Let's try and return to him. Mr. Ashimo, we lost you briefly. You are seeking to make the point that some of these individuals who are storming these installations are not your members. What are your suspicions? If you could kindly unmute for us, we cannot hear you right now as you're speaking. We'll try and restore that connection with Mr. Ashimo and then return to you. But we can try one more time, possibly if the connection to him has been restored, because we cannot hear him as he speaks. But we'll seek to take a break. Okay, let's take a break. When we return, we'll try and establish that connection, because we get the indication as well that same is happening at the Tema Harbour, where supporters of the NDC are believed to have stormed that place as well, and then get clarity from the Greater Accra chairman of the NDC. Please stay with us.
You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Franco, your #1 shop for unbeatable deals and cutting-edge gadgets. From powerful laptops to quality mobile phones and accessories, Franco air conditioners from 1.5 horsepower to 2.5 horsepower. Franco television from 32 inches to 100 inches. CCTV cameras, refrigerators, washing machine, and many more. Visit our website at www.francotrading.com or download our Franco Trading app on Google Play Store or Apple App Store. For bulk purchasing or any assistance, call the numbers on your screen. Franco, the home of quality mobile phones, accessories, and your home appliance.
Family, are you ready for the biggest New Year pool party on the 11th of January 2025? Second edition of KD's All-White New Year Party. It's happening live with the legendary Abranti Abachi Dede. Last year, the fun and enjoyment was on a different level, but trust me, this year it's gonna be fun. just leave it.
Yeah, cool. Now, the Electoral Commission is expected to continue with the collation of the Ablikuma North constituency results following the court order. The constituency does not have a representative in Parliament because of disputed results. Our man Armstrong Gold Alogbe is on the beat and joins us with the very latest from the Greater Accra offices of the Electoral Commission. Armstrong, good afternoon to you. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kameni. Currently, we are here at the EC new head office, and we were told to hold on for a press conference later today, after which we'll go back to the regional office of the EC for the recollation of the Ablikuma North parliamentary results to continue. Kameni.
I see. Take us through and give us a reminder, really, of how the process has traveled up until now.
Kevin, the last time we were at the EC office for the recollation of the Ablikuma North parliamentary results, we arrived at collecting almost all the police station results, and it was left with some 7 police stations that we were told were waiting for the agents to confirm the figures that the EC currently have in its custody. But those 7 polling agents could not show up, and the EC were left with 2 options down to postpone that recollation, and then they said we're going to communicate to us going forward. And today we got the information that they are going to continue. But before then, there's going to be press conference ahead of the coalition. So as I speak to you right now, if you go to the EC old office, that is the regional office now, you see a number of police personnel positioned there waiting for the coalition to to start. You also have some party supporters already gathering over there. Initially, when you are doing this recollation, you don't see any party supporters. But today, before I left the old place, the old EC office, I saw a number of NDC supporters gathering themselves together, also leading to the police increasing their numbers for the coalition. So as it stands right now, we have both the NDC party agent and also that of the MPP party agent all gathered at the Greater Accra Regional EC office waiting for the coalition to start. But before then, we, the media, we've been gathered, we've been brought here at the new office to witness or sit in the press conference the EC says they are going to have coming in.
I see. And this head office news conference, do we know when exactly it begins?
So they told that it's going to be around just this time, around 12 p.m. But we've been here. There are quite a number of media personnel gathered here, but the conference room where the press conference will take place itself has not been opened. So we are seated somewhere waiting patiently for them to attend to us. So even though they gave us 12, we've not seen anything that the meeting will be starting anytime soon. So we are waiting patiently to hear from them. But we've been in touch with the PR of the Electoral Commission, who has assured us that the press conference will be coming on very soon.
And they've also given you the assurance that the recollation of Ablekuma North will not take place at the Greater Accra Regional Office until the press conference has ended. Is that the case?
Certainly so, which is why first we were at the old place and then they called us, the media personnel, to come to the new office, which is why we've all redirected, moved to this place and waiting patiently for them to have their press conference. But there's no sign of it happening anytime soon. But hopefully, since it was coming from the ECPR, hopefully in the next 1 hour, they should hold a press conference and then we know the way forward as to whether there's going to be recollation or there's going to be a rerun of the Ablekuma North election. Many are speculating that because there's going to be a press conference, the EC is going to announce that they could not finalize on the 7 outstanding polling stations, so there's going to be a rerun. And others are also saying that, no, it's likely that they've been able to finalize with that. So let's wait patiently and hear what the EC has to say after the press conference coming in.
Thank you. We'll keep an eye on you for the rest of the bulletin. Thank you so much. Armstrong Goldalogbe is our correspondent following the Electoral Commission and attempts to recollate Ablekuma North's constituency again.
And we're still talking in relation to the president, John Mahama, because he's outlined his vision to reset Ghana, speaking at his inauguration, the 6th president of the 4th Republic. President Mahama unveiled 4 key areas with economic recovery being his topmost priority.
To speak plainly and clearly to you today, and every time I address you subsequently, I intend to always tell you the truth. The circumstances we find ourselves in are indeed dire, but even so, I'll be decisive and swift in my actions. We'll focus our initial efforts on 4 critical areas. The first is economic restoration and stabilization of the macroeconomic environment. The second is the improvement of the business and investment environment to ensure that Ghana is once again open for business. The third is governance and constitutional reforms. And the final, but not the least, is accountability and the fight against corruption.
And that's President John Mahama. As we've been bringing you details of, it started work already. Series of meetings, same for the first ever female vice president we've had in this country, all kick-starting business already. We will be monitoring and following and bringing you details as the day goes on. Going on to our second break for you this afternoon, we return with a bit more stories. Please do stay with us.
Take you back to the Kotoka International Airport, where we have just received reports that some group of youths believed to be NDC supporters are there. It is not clear what they intend doing at the Kotoka International Airport or what has prompted their action. We're joined by reporter Stanley Nibleu for more on this development. Stanley, good afternoon. What have you gathered so far on why these young people are there? Well, my understanding is that we'll not be talking to Stanley Nibleu. We are speaking to a former executive of the NDC, Ashimo, Greater Accra Regional Chair of the NDC. Good afternoon, sir. You were telling us earlier, really, that you were there, you've seen the young men and you've spoken to them. Did they tell you why they had gathered there?
I don't know why you just would take me a former executive. I'm the current regional chairman.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I apologize for that.
But let me put this correction out there. It is not the airport. It is at Mahabo. And a while ago, I had a meeting with the regional police commander and his team. And in the next few minutes, he will deploy his men to the said locations and make sure that law and order will prevail. Let me use this of medium to advise the members of our NDC if it's truly that some of them are involved. I will really rather encourage them to be vigilant and make sure that, yes, they will be vigilant and report any unlawful act or any unconstitutional something. At this period, to the appropriate police command or the police command for them to do the right thing instead of them taking the laws into their own hands. From what I've gathered, in the next few minutes, they'll be doing a lot of arrests, and I will plead with members of our NDC party to, if they are part of it, to stay put and make sure that we are in since yesterday to do so that we will prevent and protect the little that is left, and we use the right way or the right manner to put all these pieces together.
Very well. Indeed.
So let me use the reason to advise them.
Absolutely. We would have to end our conversation here. Thank you so much. Emmanuel Niashimo is the Greater Accra chairperson of the NDC.
We're taking you to Parliament right now because at the second time, the 9th Parliament, after its inauguration, will be sitting. Some 275 MPs are expected to be in the House for business to kickstart. Noble Crosby Annan is a man in Parliament, is joining us right now with the details. Crosby, what more can you tell us and what are we to expect today? Crosby, what are we to expect today? 275 MPs. We don't know if all of them are going to be present, but what can we expect today? Well, it does appear Crosby is not joined us just as yet, but we can take you live right now to Parliament. And I believe those are live visuals from the floor of the House for you at this particular point in time as members of Parliament make their way, or some are seated already in wait for the second sitting of this 9th Parliament. Started with the swearing in of the Speaker and then as well the selection of the first and then second Deputy Speakers, all also being selected. Bernard Ahiafo is the first Deputy Speaker, Andrew Siama, second Deputy Speaker. Government business is expected to come for them to commence and kickstart. We know that the 8th Parliament did a good job in terms of private members' bill. The expectation is that that will be carried on and a lot more private members' bill will come forth from this 9th Parliament as well. It will be interesting really what the order paper looks like today. Crosby, have you caught a glimpse of what the order paper looks like and what MPs will be engaged with today?
To the second sitting of the first meeting of Parliament in 2025, today, Wednesday, January 8. Well, as expected, the members of Parliament have began trickling in the House, trickling in the chamber, both the minority, the NPP side of the House, and the majority, the NDC side of the House. The shot you can see right now is that of the majority caucus in Parliament right now, occupying the right-hand side of Speaker Alban Gbagbe. Then the shot you'll see later will be that of the minority, the NPP side of the House, also seated at the left-hand side of the Speaker, Alban Gbagbe, who is yet to arrive in the chamber. Now, although sitting was expected to, was advertised to begin at 12, it is yet to start. We understand that the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagbe, is on his way or is already here, but at the moment he is in a leadership meeting to discuss the business of the day with the various with the leadership of Parliament. Now, if you look at the order paper for today, before the commencement of public business, we're expecting prayers as usual, and then a roll call and messages from the President if there are any. Then there'll be formal communication by the Speaker. They'll move to the correction of votes and proceedings. Then the official reports. One of the key things on today's program, if you like, is statement on the determination of the formula for the composition of membership of committees, parliamentary delegation and other parliamentary groups and associations. You know that upon the expiration of the eighth Parliament, the ninth Parliament is yet to create or form its groups, its committees, its delegations, as well as some other associations. So we expect that will be one of the key items to look for or to be spoken about today. So at the commencement of public business on the order paper, the presentation of papers, the following papers to be presented. The first one is a report of leadership on the formula of the composition of membership of committees and the committee and the selection of these committees. It will be preceded, of course, by statements from both the majority and the minority leaders, and we'll get to know a clear path the House will want to take. And as you know, that the majority side, the NDC, they have a larger majority, so as expected, they will have a lot of numbers on the committees, although the Speaker and the standing orders of Parliament will try as much as possible to be fair to them, but the numbers of the NPP group does not favour them too much. Then, by the chairman of the committee, report of the Committee of Selection on the composition of the Appointments and Business Committee. So all of these things are some of the things that we expect to happen today. So I should also tell you that when the members of Parliament were arriving, some of them did not really know where they had to pass to, to enter into the building or to enter into their part of the House as expected, because a lot of them are new. But earlier too, we saw some of the old faces in the House, Kwame Abuja-Garbins, for instance, engaging with some of the new members, if you like, having a regular conversation with them so that they could ease up a little and have a good view or good participation of proceedings today, such that it puts them on a very good field or a very good peg so that they could subsequently begin contributing. So that is what has been happening today. That is what will be happening today in Parliament.
Thank you very much for those details. That's Noel Crosby, and it's interesting you mentioned
the newbies getting lost
in making their way onto
That's
the
a
field.
fantastic story to tell. I can't wait to see it later tonight.
Yeah, but that's our bulletin for you this afternoon, the first of its kind with the both
Yes,
of us.
with both of us here.
Yeah, because we've had to transition and do a few other things.
Take a break or two.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have to go now.
I'm Mawina Igbeka.
And I'm Kemini Amano. The afternoon show is next. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.